Trusting God brings life. Believing brings rest. God causes things to happen at exactly the right time. Hi guys. Hi, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, my name is Bridget Oladipo. On this channel, I'm about faith, marriage, and lifestyle. Thank you for tuning in. If it's your first time, hi, you're welcome. If you're a returning subscriber, thank you for your love and thank you for coming again. If you're yet to subscribe, please hit on the subscribe button. Turn on your notifications so that when I post new videos, you'll be notified. Allow me come to you in my very casual and regular self today, and let's discuss some very serious stuff on faith. Okay, so today I'm going to be sharing with you waiting on God, what you should do to wait for God's perfect timing for your life. If that feels like what you're interested about, don't go nowhere. Let's just get right to the video, please. Without a question, one of the hardest things for many Christians or many of us to do with the Lord is to wait on His perfect timing to make certain things happen in their lives. We all make plans in our life regarding the future, don't we? But not all of our plans work out the way we want. We become influenced by people, circumstances, and opportunity. We all make choices, both good and bad. They can influence whether we succeed with our plans or not. I must note, however, that the plans we make are based on our limited knowledge and often with self-interest in mind, and can change as our interests and circumstances changes. We all want good things to happen in our lives, but too often we want it now, not later. When it doesn't happen that way, we are tempted to ask, when? God, when? Most of us need to grow in the area of trusting God instead of focusing on the when question. If you are missing joy and peace, then you are not trusting God. If your mind feels worn out all the time, you are not trusting God. In the very fast-paced world in which we all live in, things are set up for maximum speed and efficiency. Fast food restaurants are a favorite for many people because they like to be able to go through a fast drive-through and receive their order in just a matter of minutes. In the part of the world where I live in, you don't even need to drive through. You just need to press some button on your phone and the doorbell is ringing in minutes and your order is just at your doorstep. You don't even need to drive through. Computers are now moving faster than even before, and they are allowing news event to hit the screen just right after the news event has actually occurred. We are so used to everything moving at a fast neck speed that we then have a very hard time in adjusting to slower ways that God will work things out in our lives. One of the things I have found out in my own personal walk with the Lord is that many of the times He will have a much slower ways of working things than I ever thought He would. It's very nice that we can have fast food restaurants, computers, and the rest of the technological invention that we now have in place, so we can make our lives that much better and that much easier to navigate through. The tendencies to want to know about everything that is going on can be detrimental to our walk with God. Sometimes knowing everything can be uncomfortable and can even hurt you. I spent a large part of my life being impatient, frustrated, and disappointed because there were things I didn't know. God had to teach me to leave things alone and quit feeling that I needed to know everything. I finally learned to trust the one who knows all things and accept that some questions may never be answered. We prove that we trust God when we refuse to worry. I'll say that again. We prove that we trust God when we refuse to worry. Worrying and anxiety is follow-up of we trying to figure out things by ourselves. If you know that you trust the Lord, then you should quit worrying and just leave everything for Him to handle in His own time. He wants us to live by discernment. Revelational knowledge, not head knowledge. It's difficult to exercise discernment if you are always trying to figure out everything. But when you are willing to say, God, I can't figure this out, so I'm going to trust you to give me revelation that will set me free. Set me free from what? Set me free from anxiety. Set me free from worrying. Set me free from depression and unhappiness. Then you can be comfortable in spite of not knowing. Trusting God can often require not knowing how God is going to accomplish what needs to be done and not knowing when He will do it. When we say God is never late, but generally, He isn't earlier either. Why? Because He uses the time of waiting to stretch our faith in Him and to bring about a change, which is growth in our life. Change doesn't happen overnight. You don't give birth to a baby now and the baby becomes an adult overnight. It requires a lot of process for that child to learn to sit, to learn to crawl, to learn to stand, to learn to walk, and then it starts to run. So this, waiting on God, stretches our faith in Him, and it brings about the change and growth that is necessary in our life, so that when that required prayers of yours, that required thing you're trusting God for finally comes, it will be sustainable. That is why you need to grow. A growth process is required for you to sustain that thing you are trusting the Lord for. You may ask why. A lot of questions we cannot fathom it out in our head knowledge. That is why we trust the Lord absolutely. So during the process of your waiting, how do you wait? Number one, you need to wait with patience. We spend a lot of time in our lives waiting because change is a process. Many people want change, but they don't want to go through the waiting process. But the truth is, waiting is giving. We are going to wait. The question is, are we going to wait the wrong way or the right way? If we wait the wrong way, we will be miserable. We will be worried. We will be depressed. We will be anxious. But if we decide to wait God's way, we can become patient and enjoy the wait. We can become patient and enjoy the process. There is a slogan I love so much. Enjoy where you are on your way to where you are going to. Enjoy being single while you are trusting the Lord to be married. Enjoy the country you are in while you are trusting God to jackpot. Some of my Nigerian people will be familiar with that slogan, jackpot. That means while you are trusting God to relocate to another country. Enjoy trusting God for admission, enjoying your time while you trust God to get into school. Enjoy being unemployed while you're trusting God for a 9-to-5 job. Enjoy where you are on your way to where you are going to. Getting the right way requires a lot of practice, but as we let God help us in each situation, we develop patience, which is one of the most important Christian virtues. Patience is a fruit of the Spirit. It's developed only under trials, so we must not run away from difficult situations, but we must learn to go through that trial so that patience can be walked through us. How do we wait? Number 2, accept God's timing. God gives us hope and dreams for certain things to happen in our lives, but He doesn't always allow us to see the exact timing of His plan. Although frustrating, not knowing the exact timing is often what keeps us in the program. There are times when we might give up if we knew how long it was going to take, right? But when we accept God's timing, we can learn to live in hope and enjoy our lives while God is working on our problems. We know that God's plan for our life is of good and not of evil, to give you an expected end. And when we entrust ourselves to Him, we can experience total peace and happiness. The book of Genesis tells of the story of Joseph. Most Christians are familiar with this story, who waited many years for the fulfillment of the dream God had given him. He was falsely accused and imprisoned before the time came for him to do what God has shown him he was going to do. So waiting might take a long time, and it varies from your assignment and purpose in the Lord. Remember that before you were formed in your mother's womb, the Lord has known you and He has preordained you. This God knows the end even before the beginning. Your process of waiting, your timing of waiting might be different from mine, because my assignment might be different from yours. So trusting God for His timing It is just the best way to enjoy your waiting moment. How do you wait? Number 3, you must learn to rely on God. Rely absolutely on God. God directs our path. He sometimes leads us in ways that don't make sense to us. So we are not always going to understand everything. If we try to reason out everything, we will experience struggle, confusion, and misery. But there is a better way. According to Proverbs chapter 3 verse 5 to 6, it says, lean on, trust in, be confident in the Lord with all your heart and mind, and do not rely on your own insight or understanding. In all of your ways, know, recognize, and acknowledge him, and he will direct and make straight and plain your path. This sounds so simple, yet too many people, or too many of us, makes the mistake of trying to figure out everything by ourselves. Most of us have spent our lives trying to take care of ourselves. But when we accept Christ as our Savior, we must learn to trust our lives in his care. When we do, we can say just as the psalmist says, I trust in, I relied on, and was confident in you, O Lord. I said, you are my God, my times are in your hands. Just read from Psalm 31 verse 14 to 15. Here are some examples of where you can get yourself into major trouble with the Lord as a result of not properly relying on his perfect timing. You could end up marrying the wrong person you are dating because you could not wait for God's perfect timing to bring you the mate he has chosen for your life. You could end up finding yourself in a miserable and unfulfilled marriage, not to mention the possibility of your marriage ending up in divorce, which the Lord hates. You could take the next new wrong job because you could not wait for God to promote you into the next new job. Into the next new job he will want you to have. And you could end up losing valuable years in reaching the call that God has set up for your life, if not lose the entire call altogether. This can happen when we don't learn to wait patiently for the Lord's timing. God causes things to happen at exactly the right time. It just says in his time he makes all things beautiful. Not in your time, not in the society time, in his own time. Your job is not to figure out when that time will be, but your job is to make up your mind that you will not give up until you cross the finish line and are living in the radical, outrageous blessings of God for your life. The more you trust God, the more you trust Jesus and keep your eyes focused on him, the more you will have. The more you trust your life in him, the more you will have. Trusting God brings life. Believing brings rest. So stop trying to figure out everything and let God be God in your life. In that thing you are trusting the Lord for, stop trying to figure it out and let God be God in your life. So this is what I wanted to share with you today, my beautiful people. Waiting on God's timing. Let me know on the comment section which of this is the hardest for you to do. Relying on him totally, or allowing him to figure it out while you do not do anything about it. Do not forget that when you trust the Lord, you do not worry. So if you find yourself worrying, then ask yourself, are you trusting the Lord? Let me know in the comment section how this video has blessed you. I would love to read from you. And please hit on the like button. Make sure you comment, leave your comment down below. Subscribe if you're yet to. And like I always say, please share out this video. You may never know who this will be of help to. For my fellow YT family, share it on your community types. For those that are not on YT, please share it with a friend. Somebody might just be going through stuff that needs to hear this, and the Lord will bless you as you do so in Jesus' name. Till I see you in my next video, keep winning, keep ruling, and keep smiling. I love you, but God loves you more.